You're literally Frodo right now.
He's the hero. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Gollum's Gamers, where today I am joined by Adam and Vince for the Spotify listeners for yet another emergency podcast. We are here. We're a little bit late to this one. I saw this article released today while I was on my break at work, but I could not record. It was the middle of the day, but we are here in the evening to record this emergency pod for more fantastic news that has come out about the Middle-earth strategy battle game. We finally have news on the Armies of Middle-earth rulebook supplement, whatever you want to call it, that's coming out, and also a new plastic model as well. Very exciting stuff. So Adam and Vince join me for their emergency podcast debut. Love to see it. But before we get underway, you can follow us on Instagram and Spotify by following the links in the description down below, as usual. And please do subscribe to us here on YouTube as well. The majority of people that watch are not subscribed, so please do remember to subscribe. So I guess kicking things off at the top of the article here, it starts focusing on Imrahil. So straight away, right at the top here, we have the new Imrahil model. Who wants to kick us off here with this fantastic fiefdoms model? What do we think?
It's so much better than the other one, isn't it?
Understatement.
Like, do you remember the foot one where he's literally standing there like this?
Yeah, with the sword up.
Yeah, he's going like that. This is needed, I think. It's a lovely model. It kind of ties him in with the Forge World Swan Knights, doesn't it?
Very nicely. So those are also in plastic. So this is a plastic kit for anyone that was not aware, which is very interesting. What do you think on this one, Vince?
Yeah, I like it. It's a very nice model. It's not too different from the kind of older, troop knights, which I like. It kind of ties into them, so it doesn't feel like it's a completely different army. So yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's super, super nice. So it says a new plastic kit features Prince Imrahil on foot and mounted on an armored horse. Both Imrahil and his mount feature armor detailed with swan iconography, if that's how you say that, as befits the Prince of Dol Amroth. I was looking for it. It says, yes, this bit here. He will be released in the coming months, and you'll be able to find his rules in the upcoming Armies of Middle-earth hardback rules supplement. So it is called a rule supplement. So we'll move on to that in just a moment. But I guess my take on it, when I initially saw the model, I thought this might be my favorite release that they've done ever since I've actually been following SVG.
Wow.
I think this model looks cool as shit. I think it looks really good. It might just be the paint job. Maybe I like the blues with the sharp highlights. I've always liked the Swan Knights anyway. I've got 12 of them, which I never fully finished painting, but I worked on them like really hard. So I just really like the armored sort of look, the swan thing, and the blue. And obviously being in plastic, this ticks the boxes for me. I like this model. This looks super good. The on foot one is a little bit, I don't really like the face on this on foot one. I think that looks a little bit.
Give that a bit of zoom.
That's very pointy, isn't it?
Zoom in on it.
Oh, I can zoom in. Yeah, here you go. Oh, look, we're getting a little close up here. You see, I'm not really too fan of this. I like this one. This one's cool. He's like pouting, sort of. I don't know. But yeah. Super, super cool.
Yeah, it's very difficult to make kind of different versions of the same kind of archetypal, model, like an armored guy with a shield and a sword.
Sure.
And they've done a really good job making it quite unique in its own way.
Yeah, and I guess as well they'll have versions without the helmet on. So I wonder how much like the original it's going to look in terms of like the hair and just the face and everything compared to the previous one without the helmet on. I don't know, but they haven't shown that here, obviously. So yeah, and just the cloak here, like on the on foot one, like that is just super fresh and sharp. And then obviously,
it's a very dynamic horse pose, and you didn't need to have it on its like hind legs or anything. It looks
I think it's like the robes and everything on the horse. It just makes it still look,
Yeah.
although it's quite
Makes the horse look very majestic.
makes it look dynamic still. Yeah. So
The thing I
super,
quite like about the pose is the fact that he's got his lance across the head,
yeah,
like
across
behind
the
the head.
front. Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I can't remember a model where I've seen that
Mm.
in Middle Earth because they
Mm.
normally keep the weapon on the same side as the
Yeah.
shoulder.
Yeah. Well, I guess
I guess they didn't want to make it look like Erna, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
true. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. I don't like how the shield on the on foot one is like literally horizontal. I hope you can just bend that upwards because I'm not that big a fan of that. But I guess usually they're
Yeah.
always upright, right? So they turn it
Yeah,
horizontal.
they just wanted to make it
A
different.
little bit different. I don't know, but that looks a little bit odd to
Yeah.
me. But yeah, really good. I'm a huge fan. So I will be getting this for sure. Even if I don't play fiefdoms, I will be buying this. I actually have a half painted of the old Imrahil, and now I'm glad I never finished it. So there we go. And in plastic,
Yeah, this is nice.
so it'll be coming in the following months. I guess to touch on, so we were kind of talking before we started recording on what this could mean for like making plastic kits. Obviously, we had Bolg announced, who's in plastic as well. I think the general consensus is that that was made because of the issues with the base size for the Bolg that was already.
Yeah.
They kind of had to amend that for the new edition, so they did that. But then this being released in plastic, like usually when they release stuff, it's because it's going to tie into like the upcoming supplement or something like that. Obviously, it seems like Imrahil is going to be featured in some of the army lists in the upcoming armies book. So I guess he's like the new plastic thing being released with that book. Is it that, or is it that we're going to have some kind of Gondor themed supplement where this new plastic kit's going to feature? It could mean that, or he could just be the new release coming along with the armies book. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think it's just the new model to go with third army book.
With the armies book.
I think supplements are way into the future. There's still like a lot of kind of things to tidy up in the edition. So I don't know what GW have planned, if anything, outside of what we kind of know is coming out.
Yeah, like match play guide. There's
Yeah.
other things that kind of need to be sorted. So yeah, it's a little bit of an interesting one. I don't think anyone saw this coming, did they?
No, I think he has to be in one of the lists, surely, that's coming out.
Well, no, he's definitely going to be in
Or you think
fiefdoms and
yeah,
at least one or two of the other ones.
yeah.
But he should probably be in. Do you think they're going to put him into things that already exist, like Defense of the Pelennor? Do you think
Oh yeah,
in
of
the
course.
profiles
Yeah,
they'll actually include that?
Yeah, he could even go into other ones. Yeah, sure. So he could feature in loads, maybe. Yeah.
Possibly.
Is that something that GW have said though, that they will? So, for example, the current Lothlorien list doesn't have Galadrim Court Guard, yet Galadrim Court Guard are not going into Legacy. So
that is discussed in this article. That is
okay.
discussed in this article. This is breaking news to Adam here.
Breaking
And that
news.
is why we are here on the Emergency Podcast, people. So we'll leave it there for Imrahil. I'm stoked to get this, but it says in the coming months. So we will see what that means exactly. Oh, yeah. And just to mention as well, yeah, this is the first plastic kit that they've ever released for a profile that wasn't in the films.
Oh, wow.
That's quite monumental, isn't it? First ever plastic. So it's a pretty good sign for the game, you know.
That is a good sign.
Indeed. So anyway, we move on to the Motherlode. This is what everyone has been wanting, hoping for. When are we going to get news on this? Also the match play guide, but this was the big thing. They kind of released the new edition as like half a game almost. Like not half a game, but a big chunk of models you just could not use because they're going to be in this Armies of Middle-earth book. So Armies of Middle-earth contains the rules for 130 units featuring heroes, villains, monsters, and warriors from Middle-earth's lengthy history. It covers a huge selection of classic miniatures plus new unit profiles such as the Wardrakes of Rune. So I guess here where it says new unit profiles, it doesn't mean new stuff we haven't seen yet. It's just like ones that they've created, things like the Wardrakes of Rune, which we never saw models for. So those are going to be in there as well, along with classic things such as Imrahil, for example, that wasn't in the armies of the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit. So I guess, first of all, we have the forces of good are ready to stand and fight with profiles and for units and heroes from the Free Peoples, Rohan, Gondor, kingdoms of men, elven kingdoms, and dwarven holds. And you'll be able to use them in 14 good army lists. So those army lists are the Battle of Bywater, Arathorn Stand, the Grey Company, the Bjornings, the Fords of Isen, the Paths of the Druidan, the Fiefdoms, the Grief of Eomer, Arnor, Army of Dale, Battle of Fornos, Kingdom of Khazad-dûm, Army of Erebor, and Defenders of Erebor. So a few of those are ones that we already have from the Rise of Angmar, in quotations, PDF. So they've released the ones for like Arnor and the Angmar ones as well. So had those already, but they will actually be featured in the book as well, which is nice. But then obviously there's these new ones as well. So initial takeaways from the list. This is the first kind of news that we've had on what is going to actually be in the book. What do we think?
So I'm pleased that we're getting things that were maybe a little bit not clear. For example, Battle of Bywater. Mega excited to get my hobbits out again.
Hey.
Because the current Shire list that we have is pretty poor, isn't it? Like it's literally just the heroes. Like Lobelia and Bilbo. It's Bilbo's birthday party, basically, but without any normal hobbits.
Yeah.
So that's good. Fleshes it out a bit.
Yeah.
As exciting as this is, I think this is really good. It's also a little bit, because of what you just said, it's a little bit underwhelming because a lot of these lists we already have.
Yeah.
So what I'm wondering is, obviously, all the Arnor and
I think Arathorn's Stand was in that as well, was it?
Yeah, so Arathorn's Stand, the Arnor list, the Army of Dale, Battle of Fornos, Army of Erebor, and Defenders of Erebor. They're all currently. I mean, are they going to change? I don't think so.
No.
So when it says Defenders of Erebor, that's talking about the Dale with the Grimhammers.
That's not in the game at the moment, is it? No. So that's
it is. It is.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. That's Dale with Grimhammers and Thrall.
There's one called Erebor and Dale.
They are different. Okay, so that means
so this is going to be the Legendary Legion that was out.
Right.
Yeah.
But do we think that Army of Erebor is, for example, Old Dane and Iron Hills?
Could be. Oh yeah, because they're not. Yeah.
Because none of that stuff's out.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, because there was one that was just like, wasn't that the Defenders list? Yeah, that had Old Dane, the Thorin.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is just that Legion.
So and then they are new.
Yeah,
those are new, kind of.
Yeah, the only ones here that were already released are the ones that were in the Rise of Angmar PDF thing that's already been out.
So what we're saying is this list is essentially Rise of Angmar with Defense of the North with what we've already got.
There is a couple. So like, there's the Fords of Isen.
And the Grief of Eomer.
And so Fords of Isen is basically Dangerous Guard.
Yeah, I thought,
Should be.
Grief of Eomer is probably going to be some sort of Fiefdoms Rohan alliance, I reckon.
Yeah. Because now you can't, I guess they've gone, that was a really popular alliance that people like to take, and now they can't do that. So we'll make a list so that people can still do that. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Yeah. Oh, and obviously the Battle of Fornos is obviously out already. Khazad-dûm is obviously a huge list that now you just can't play, so there's one there for that. So, nothing too much new. They're just allowing you to play what you could play before.
Yeah,
which
these are just lists that are
wanted
that were out, were in the edition before, and now they're coming out.
Yeah, although I'm not sure what this Army of Erebor is.
I think it must be Old Dane and his son, the ginger guy.
Isn't that what the Defenders of Erebor was, though? I thought.
I think that's the one with some Daniel
brand.
Oh, sure. Okay. And then Army of Erebor is the one with Old Dane. Yeah, sure. Okay, fine.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's good. I mean, this is necessary, but it's just like what we've been missing.
Yeah.
It's just dotting the I's and crossing the T's.
Yeah. I don't know why this didn't come out in the new edition, but sure, they get another big release. People are interested again. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so leaving it there for that, we'll move on. And for those that would see Middle-earth brought to ruin, the forces of evil comprise Mordor, Isengard, the Misty Mountain, and the Fallen Realms, used in 14 evil army lists. So we have Army of the Great Eye. That's very interesting. Sharky's Rogues, Moria, Dragons of the North, Host of the Witch King, Shadows of Angmar, Birder's Horde, Wolfpack of Angmar, Army of Kharndoom, the Easterlings, Host of the Dragon Emperor, the Serpent Horde, Umbar, and Grand Army of the South. So I guess before we read on, or maybe I'll just read on now. So many of the heroes and warriors that feature in the Armies of Middle-earth supplement can also be taken in army lists found in Armies of the Lord of the Rings and Armies of the Hobbit. Where this is the case, the Legions of Middle-earth section will provide details of which army lists they can be taken in and what heroic tier those heroes will count as in those lists. So there we go. So that sort of answers your question, doesn't it, Adam?
The Galadrim, yeah.
Yeah, so that they will say, but it does say here, and what heroic tier those heroes. So it doesn't say which lists those units can be taken in. I don't know.
I'm sure it will under the profile, right?
Yeah, you would hope.
So, for example, something like Darewine, I wonder if in its profile is going to be like, yes, you can include him in Paths of Druadan and like Riders of Theoden.
Yeah. So even if it's not a list that's in that army's book, it's saying So it seems like that is how it's going to work.
It has to be, because they're not going to reprint all of the books they've just made to include these profiles.
Yeah, it's a really strange way to do it, but kind of that's just the best way of doing it, isn't it now?
Yeah. So you're going to be able to use things in the lists from the books that are already out that you were able to use them in previously, most likely. So like, the Galadrim, you're going to be able to include those. So I guess looking at this list then, anything stand out? I'm wondering what this Army of the Great Eye is.
It's going to be Witch King, Suladan, the Mouth of Sauron, and Gorbag.
The in the water.
And the Shadow Lord.
And the Shadow Lord, yeah.
For good measure. The Return.
The Return.
Because they came out with the list. Is it the Legions of Mordor that they brought out?
Yeah, I'm surprised at this one. But again, it must be all the profiles that we didn't see in the films.
So this could be the Black Num list.
Interesting. I hadn't thought that. We missed the old Black Nums, eh?
Yeah. Did the rest of the troops go to Legacy, like the
Roman Centurions? Yeah.
The Guard of Blackguard Barad-dûr.
Yeah.
They all went to Legacy, didn't they?
The beasts. Yeah.
So it's really just the Black Nums. I reckon they go into that list.
Doesn't sound like a bit. Yeah. It will have, I guess, like orcs and some other. I don't know what kind of heroes and things, but that's an interesting one that stood out immediately because I thought like the Legions of Mordor was like the Mordor one, like the main Mordor sort of list where you have loads of options. I thought that's what that was meant to be, but surely that's the Army of the Great Eye. I don't know. Is it going to have the Witch King in?
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows? Interesting. The next one that probably stands out the most is Dragons of the North. That sounds very new.
Yeah, I don't know if that literally means dragons. That could just be like the name of the army, but who knows? Do you see GW releasing like dragon models for this Legion? I don't know. Probably. GW are crazy.
They mentioned the War Drakes in this article. Maybe they finally made a model for it. And there's going to be a
so it's like the evil version of like the Eagles. Although the evil version of the Eagles is actually Fell Beasts, so I'm not really sure.
Okay,
I'm not really sure where this slots in.
But maybe it's like
all a bit strange.
Yeah, 120 point dragons, on like 60 mil bases.
I don't know. I actually don't think that's literally,
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
I don't think they literally mean dragons here.
And like Dragons of the North is the North bit meant to be like the defense of the North. Easterlings in that, maybe.
Yeah, I think this is just another Easterling list.
But it's in actually, to be fair, hold on. How they've grouped it here, hold on, because they've done all of these Angmar ones together, and then they've done this next to Moria.
No, guys, it's dragons. Right?
So were dragons a thing in the lore, like Easterling lore?
Yeah.
Like actual dragons?
No, I don't think it's
not necessarily Easterling. It could be. But
You
I
see
think
how
it's
they've
literally
done
going to
this?
be the Moria dragons. What they'll do is they'll
But
make the
of the
dragons
north.
like, yeah,
I think
from
it's
So
going to
like
be.
Angmar.
Now I've seen how they've done it because look, they've done the Serpent Horde, Umbar, and Grand Army of the South bundled into one nice chunk here. Then they've got the Easterlings here. Then they've got the Angmar stuff from the supplement all in one block. And then they've got Dragons of the North,
Yeah.
Samoria.
So guys, you know how the Fangorn list, you can take Ents and then you can make them like Beach, Ash, whatever.
Hmm.
It's going to be like that for dragons.
So we're going to have named dragons.
So these are Moria dragons.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Is
350
the is the
It's got to
dragon
be.
model
Maybe they've made them cheaper.
legacy?
And like, yeah,
No, they're not legacy.
they didn't.
So
They could rework the profile, make them like a
are they
lot
going to bring those
cheaper.
back
That-
and make a dragon
They
list?
could make them sort of like Eagles. They could make them like 100 and whatever and make them a little bit more affordable and playable. And you've got Legion for
And you know what? It's going to make Dale even better.
it. Yeah, confirmed OP. Dragons of the North. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Like, yeah, I
That's the
guess.
kind of thing it'll
I
be.
think the other units, so it would be dragons, it will be the little fire drake things. Might even be cave drakes.
God, that'd be beast. Drakes of
The mini Balrogs got legacy, didn't they?
the Dwellers. Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah. So it
Yeah.
won't be them.
So this is a list for like all those little monsters, the Moria monsters. Okay,
I reckon.
It's a meme list.
I don't know because the way I read it was of the north. I thought, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I was thinking Eastlings, but they're not. They're not from the north, are they?
Yeah. I think it's telling how it's all grouped. I think it's something to do with Moria.
We'll find out.
We will. Yeah. So so those are the evil ones that are coming. Anything else that stands out? I mean, obviously these are all the Angmar ones that we already have. So we already know about those. Doubt there's going to be any changes. Obviously, the Host of Dragon Emperor and the Eastlings, we're finally going to get to see those back on the table. Everyone's hyped about that. It's obviously a little bit weird now how you can take like just the normal Easterlings in the Legions of Mordor list, and the profile is in the Mordor section in the book. Are they going to put the profiles also in the Easterling section in the armies book?
Yeah.
That is just so weird. Like,
Yeah,
the way they've
it's
done the
weird, isn't
books,
it?
I think it was a lot cleaner how they did it in the last edition. Just how it was grouped.
Like
Action. It's so clear.
who's gonna run the Easterlings list? Like when you've got Host of the Dragon Emperor
Maybe they've made Amber
available.
pretty good.
Yeah. Unless they make the rules fair. So in
Yeah.
the last edition, no one took Andor, but everyone took House of
Yeah,
Dragon
I
Emperor.
reckon they've
If they make the
made-
rules fair, then
yeah,
it's
I
choice.
reckon they've taken this as an opportunity to make the Dragon Emperor worse and things about the Easterlings list better. So
Yeah,
like,
they should
It's just
do
weird
that.
how they've split it into two, right? Whereas like something like Khazad-dûm is one army. Like why have they split this into two?
I guess it's just because it's more popular, and you've got someone like Amda that can't be taken in the Dragon
Well,
Emperor.
it's because Amanda went to the Pelennor Fields, and then the others, like the Host of Dragon Emperor, went off to
sure.
Erebor.
Yeah, sure.
So they are
I
different
mean,
armies.
you could still make it the same army and be like, you can't take both.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but it's a way they can get an extra army. Otherwise, it'd
Yeah.
be 13.
And it's a popular list, like people
Yeah.
like it. So I would almost guarantee, I think, in my view, this isn't a Gollum's Gamers guarantee, but this is my view. The Dragon Emperor will not be the same in this list. No way. He's 100%
I think it will be.
I think in the new edition. I think he's getting that. I think they're going to make him worse. Maybe not loads worse, but they're going to change something about him, and they're going to make something about the Easterlings list. Be it Amda.
He's not going to be massively different though. He's just going to see. He's still going to be
They'll change
big
something about him.
fight and
they'll change something. Maybe they take away the resistance
fight buff, banner
somewhat.
buff.
Yeah, I think he's getting nerfed somewhat.
Yeah, he has to be nerfed somewhat.
Yeah, I think we will see it still because he was still doing so well even after the original nerf. So, yeah. Any final kind of takeaways or anything? Did we touch on like the legacies? We didn't really speak about the legacies. We were talking about that beforehand. We didn't go into it much, did we? On here,
Hard to remember
I'm not sure if
which one was a legacy and which aren't now. Seems like a long time ago.
Yeah, but like
Abrakan Guard are legacy, for example. So look at the Serpent Horde list. I think it's literally going to be Serpent Riders, Serpent Guard, normal Haradrim, and Raiders.
Hmm.
And then Legacied was things like, uh, yeah, the Abragan Merchant Guard, and what was his name? The Golden King. So,
Oh,
so
yeah.
heroes like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there's no mention on any of this about Legacy, is there?
No, on when we're gonna. So I think I saw someone say somewhere that when they originally announced the Armies book and the Legacies thing, that the Legacies PDF was going to release alongside the Armies book. People may correct us
All
down in
right.
the comments, but that's what I thought, and I saw some people saying today. So, but they said so further down, or no, it was further up. They said in the coming months is when the Imrahil model comes out. They don't say that about the Armies book. Then someone asked them on their Facebook page, and they responded and said that this Armies book is also coming out in the coming months. So when that is, we don't know. Coming months. What do we think? 2 months? 5 months?
Well, I think we correctly
10
predicted
months.
this, didn't we? We said it would be about March.
That we got
Um,
asked, yeah.
so I guess the next one might be May or June.
Hmm.
The thing is, I know you guys might differ from me on this, but I actually think there's enough at the moment. People haven't figured out the meta. There's still a lot we've got to. We're in the discovery phase. There's
Hmm.
so
Yeah,
much
true.
to try out. I mean, I'm starting new armies. I'm starting the army of the White Hand. No, never had Isengard before.
Yes, Adam.
Um, yeah, no, it's just fun. It's exciting, and I think
Yeah,
if
no,
you
yeah.
release everything too quickly, it's like, yeah, there's too much choice all of a sudden. I think this is a good opportunity to reset a holiday from what we were having. Yeah, it's a good start.
Hmm. Yeah, no.
But but I do get how people are a little bit anxious about their old models. Um,
Hmm. The
yeah,
legacy.
we've got to enjoy what we've got at the moment. There's plenty of good stuff. Just keep it coming.
What do you think, Vince?
Nah, give me all the stuff now. We want all the stuff now.
I want it on release.
I can't. Yeah, I mean, making lists is always one of the most fun parts of this hobby for me.
Hmm. And you've been missing some of your models, eh? To make this on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it won't be too long. A couple months, hopefully, start of the summertime, hopefully at the latest, hopefully. Obviously, we've just entered March. So do we think we'll hear on the match play guide before this book comes out? Do we think we'll hear anything about that before this book comes out?
Sadly, I don't think so. It doesn't look like it. It looks like this is going to be the next in the pipeline,
Yeah.
which means we're going to have to wait several more months at least after this before we get news on,
Because what, there's been
more
like
scenarios.
a 2 or 3-ish month gap between the release of the new edition and this article announcing it. So from when this is eventually released in the coming months, it could then be that same 2 or 3 months before we get this article for the match play guide. So it could be looking sort of September time, maybe even later.
Yeah. If they were going to do this, they might as well have just kept the old match play guide, not changed kind of the victory point system, be like, okay, these are the scenarios until the new ones come out, instead of bringing out, you know, six with
Yeah.
the new system,
I
which
think
are
maybe
pretty
that
much
was
the
fine.
same.
They could have maybe released a PDF like how they did for the Arnor and Angmar legions. They could have released that on day one with like adjustments for the VPs for the new
No,
edition.
but I'm saying they didn't even have to do that. They could have just kept it the same,
I
right?
guess it's just
And
with the
been
VP
like,
changes that they wanted
yeah,
to.
but
Yeah.
they didn't have to do that
No,
because
true.
it hasn't really changed much. Like the game is the same. They've just kind of doubled the VPs for everything. So why not just keep it the same?
I guess
Just
it
be
would
like,
be
okay,
whether
here are
they
the
think that,
scenarios, and then when the new scenarios come out, then
yeah.
they'll come
I
out. But
think maybe
the
it will
problem is
work
now we're
better.
stuck with playing the same six, right?
Yeah, they might think it will work better for the new scenarios they've made, maybe, and that's why they wanted to change it.
Like if you think about it, how has domination really changed? Like It hasn't really.
Mhm.
And just the whole idea of doubling, but it's the same idea. It's just they've discretized it a little bit more.
Yeah, but it's pretty much the same, isn't it? And if they'd just kept the old scenarios, we could still play the
So
game.
I think they should have actually released a match play guide probably before what they're releasing now, because actually we do still at the moment we've got one really fat book, the Armies of the Middle Earth, sorry, the Armies of Lord of the Rings. It's a big book. There's a lot of armies in that. The
Mm.
Hobbit book doesn't have much, but combined, I think it's enough. For me, the bigger thing is the same six scenarios. So if you're going to a six
Yeah,
game tournament, you know exactly what sort of like scenarios you're playing every time.
Every time. I think to us, obviously, that's maybe more important. I think to GW and the wider community, having access to the other half of the game, as it were, in quotations, is really
yeah.
important.
Sure. But
For
it's also a
for
lot easier for GW to just release more scenarios rather than all of this stuff.
Yeah, true, true.
for competitive players, the scenarios is massive because
Yeah,
it completely kind of dictates how you build your lists as well. So it's like going to a tournament, and as Adam said, knowing exactly which scenarios you're playing. It it kind of almost favors certain lists.
yeah. They're gonna,
Um,
I guess, uh, had they released, had they not released this first, they'd have pissed off a much larger crowd of people than they would the ones that are going to get upset because the match play guide
yeah,
isn't coming up.
but
Yeah,
I'm
but
saying
it shouldn't
they
be an
didn't
either
have to do
or. They should
anything.
have just done both.
It didn't require any work, right? They could have just done nothing and just been like, we're
Yeah.
using the same scenario,
Yeah,
same
I would
system.
happily have
If
the
it
old
was going to require that
right
much
now.
work,
Yeah, that would be great.
all
Yeah,
they're
that's
going to do
true.
is they're going to release, Storm the Camp 6 months later.
With different
It's
VPs.
going to be exactly the same, except the VPs are going to be doubled for everything. It's
So
going to
we're
be
just
like
going to
the
wait for
deployment is
ages
still,
to play the same scenario.
12 inches from the corner. It's still going to be the same shit. Let's be real here.
Vince is not optimistic for the new match play guide.
Vince is a glass
No, I'm
half
not.
empty guy.
Who
No,
knows?
no, but
Maybe,
based on what we've seen so far from the scenarios,
maybe
and
they'll
the changes they've
strip
made.
out the worst six scenarios from the previous match play guide and replace them with six new ones. So maybe Storm the Camp will be axed, Vince. Heirlooms, maybe. I know some people
I'll
love
bet
it.
you anything. Storm the Camp's coming back. It's going to be exactly the same deployment.
Vince is going to
Oh
open
no.
his match play guide on day one and turn immediately
Storm the Camp. Oh,
to scenario 12. Oh,
yeah,
Storm the Camp. Oh, it's
yeah,
the same deployment. Oh, this is shit.
yeah.
Love it, Vince. Love it, mate. Okay. Well, I think it's going to close this out. We've talked about the legacies, yeah, the new armies book, and obviously this gorgeous Imrahil model as well. Where is it? Here it is. Looking glorious. So that's going to do it for this emergency podcast. I don't know when the next one will be. We used to have loads of these. Maybe when this is released, we have a release date. Who knows? Do we think there's going to be more leaks for this? How there was last time? What do you think on that? Final thought.
Um, maybe. I don't know. I think there's less energy behind it at the moment because
There was a lot with the build up. Yeah.
we've got a game. We've got a game that's working now, so people are less anxious as they were, right?
Everyone
So I
wants
don't
to
think
be-
so.
Sure. Okay, maybe not.
But what I will say is this Imrahil, it's like a gift that we didn't know we were going to get. This is a lovely, lovely little surprise.
It's a little cherry, isn't it?
And I'm not sure it was 100% necessary, but
Blue
I quite
one.
like it.
A blue cherry. A blueberry. There we go.
Yeah.
If there are leaks, best believe we'll be covering them here on another emoji podcast. So yeah.
Elliot, the botanist.
The what, sorry?
Elliot, the botanist.
The botanist. I don't know what that means. I wish I did.
People who know stuff about plants and flowers and stuff.
Oh, the botanist. Or is that how they say it in America?
You're the bot, mate.
Is it? And on that note, we will close it out. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching another Emoji podcast from the Gollum's Gamers.